After taking the oath of office as the 16th leader of Nigeria on the 29th of May 2023, President Bola Tinubu began the task of putting the country on the path to greatness. Having taken over the reins of power at a time of economic uncertainty and mounting insecurity, President Tinubu had his work cut out for him. The president was aware of these challenges and wasted no time in setting out to tackle them right from his inauguration. With vast experience in governance and political activism during the struggle for democracy in the country, President Tinubu took the bull by the horns, and his very first official policy decision was announcing the removal of the huge petrol subsidy, which was a financial drain to the country.
The policies are difficult. There's no way Nigeria could have survived the continuation of oil subsidy. There's no way. Today I can beat my chest, and each of the governors here, that allocations to the states is tripled. We have enough funding for the local government. We have enough funds to fund our children in the school. We can steer the future of this country and make a difference.
I salute the courage of President Bola Tinubu in what he did. I admire his determination, and I'm heartened by his execution of this subsidy removal, FX harmonization. I speak, as someone who is an investor in the financial sector in this economy. I speak also as an investor in this economy. So either as an investor in financial sector, as an investor in the wider economy, the impact of fuel subsidy, also and the impact of FX, different markets, different rates, was telling on all of us. But it's been done, and that courage is truly a word. What we need to now do is to sustain it.
So there's no best time to take a decision, most especially when it's so needed, it's so central and essential for a nation like ours. A drain pipe of $10 billion per annum isn't a joke for a nation that doesn't have enough money or resources. So I would say, yes, the decision might look very tough, but trust me 100%, that's what Nigeria needs. As a business, part of what we've done is to adapt, and we adapted very quickly, which is to adjust our businesses, our processes, our operations to the reality on ground. And we equally had to take a hard look at our own operations and say to ourselves, how do we support government? Quite a number of school of thoughts arose at the time when those decisions were taken as regards the number of staff we have so that we can shed some of them. But we said, no, we're not going to do that. Rather, we'll keep our own part of the bargain to ensure that there's job creation, and then we ensure that the government's intention ultimately comes out with good future.
Nigeria was already in problem when Bola Tinubu came. It's in problem in its economy. The bad economy created bad security. And then it breeds unemployment, hunger, and everything we are talking about. So when he came, he met a total rental economy. In a rental economy, you inherit, maybe say you inherit like investment house or cocoa house from your parents. And you are just going there every morning to collect rent, or every month. You don't need to work. That's the kind of economy he inherited. Economy that expects money to come from the oil and to make everybody lazy. Nobody should work. All factory, even government don't buy made in Nigeria anymore. But since Bola Tinubu came, he started these reforms in such a way as to see that people started working.
To outline his vision for a viable and prosperous Nigeria, President Tinubu came up with the Renewed Hope agenda. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, says the well-formulated strategies encapsulated in the Renewed Hope agenda indicate that the President was fully prepared for the task of governance.
He took off in turbulent water, inclement water. It was very rough, but he was fully prepared to assume leadership and to lead in the correct direction based on his experience, his strategy, his understanding of the dynamics of Nigerian politics. Many Nigerians have also noted he took a major decision: removal of fuel subsidy. If he never did that, the economy of this country would have completely collapsed. It got to a point where Nigeria could not pay for imports of petroleum products in the country. We were selling crude, but the amount realized was insufficient to pay for the imports.
Mr. President came at a time when Nigeria was perhaps fast on its way to bankruptcy. And at that time, we needed a visionary and a leader that would salvage our country. What Mr. President has done is he has made it very glaring, the difference between a politician and a leader. And what do I mean? It's almost said that a politician, all he's concerned about is the next election. The leader, on the other hand, is concerned about the next generation. And I think that's why I said Mr. President has made very glaring the difference between a politician and a leader. He has, in the last 2 years, adorned the leadership cap, not that of a politician. He didn't really care about the next election, to the extent that he made what everybody, domestic observers and international observers, have described in 2 words: bold and audacious decisions.
He has been able to state what he's going to do and carry out what he's going to do. And he stays focused on his course. Purposeful, I would say, because we are getting the right medicine for our illness, okay? And we're tired of having policies which say one thing with the government's genuine desire to say another thing, or expect another thing to occur.
President Tinubu's bold and ambitious plans in the agenda is also getting the backing of the leadership of the National Assembly.
When you are elected into the National Assembly, whether in the Senate or the House of Representatives, your constituents will not give you gloves to go and start boxing. It's not a boxing tournament. It's not. You are there to work in a bipartisan manner for the interests of Nigeria. You are not there to fight the executive. If you spend all your energy fighting the executive, then who will work for Nigeria? So I believe we've had a very cordial relationship, and particularly with a president who understands the parliament. A president who has been a senator, the wife has been a senator, the vice president has been a senator, and then, of course, in the Senate, we couldn't have had it better. This is probably the best times for the Nigerian Senate to have people. You know, it took America over 180 years to produce a president and a vice president. I think that was President Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson also in the White House. But it has taken Nigeria less than 24 years to produce President Tinubu and a former senator, and then Kashim Shettima, a former senator. It's not easy. And then to cap it all, the First Lady of the Federation, another, once a senator, always a senator, a former senator. So for us, it's not a period, it's a period for collaboration for the interests of Nigeria. It's not a period for infight. From the perspective of the National Assembly, almost every bill that the President has brought, we have scrutinized. We have been able to align it with the realities and the needs of the Nigerian people, and we have supported him by making sure that they are speedily passed.
Because the legislative agenda of the House and the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President intertwine. We were able, because of the synergy, to pass 12 bills that are based on the economy. We have passed around 11 bills that are education related. We have 14 bills that are purely establishment bills. And then we passed 11 bills that are of security.
Since his first day in office, President Tinubu has adopted various policies to revamp the economy, including economic diplomacy, thus becoming the country's chief marketer to attract foreign direct investments, FDIs. The Vice President of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima, who chairs the National Economic Council, NEC, has provided solid support for the President in bringing the vision to fruition.
The progress we have made did not happen by accident. It is the result of calculated choices. We have confronted the ghosts of the past, from the unsustainable fuel subsidy, down through the volatility of the EPEX system, to the erosion of local government autonomy. These were not easy decisions, but leadership is not about convenience, it is about courage. And this is where President Tinubu has been exceptional. He did not come to dance around history. He came to shape it. And I believe when the story of this era is written, it will be said that he stood firm where it mattered most and began the difficult, very difficult, but necessary task of resetting Nigeria for greatness. As the Spanish bullfighter Domingo Ortega reminds us, the crowd may gather to watch, the critics may have their say, but only the man who stands before the bull understands the weight of the moment. It is easy, quite easy to speak from the stands, but the real story belongs to the one in the arena.
Two years on, the policies initiated by President Tinubu are beginning to turn the economy around, boost investors' confidence, and attract international commendation. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy says the results of the reforms are now visible.
The revenue of government has gone up 60% in 2024 compared to the previous year. And that's the federal level. At the state level, the revenues to the states has doubled. So these are signs of the improvements in government revenues as a result of the bold and courageous changes that were made.
By the policy that Mr. President passed through Federal Executive Council, saying that no more imports, we will consume and patronize what we produce in Nigeria. So what that means is that you are actually going to stop people from importing poverty into our country and exporting jobs out. Because if you consume what you produce, it means that as you increase consumption, people are going to increase their own capacities and employ more people. There will be more people, who will be gainfully employed. And you are talking about what you call circular economy.
The country's gross domestic product, GDP, is at its strongest level in a decade, with $8 billion in new oil investments and $38.5 billion in reserves.
Portfolio investment is up. FDI is also up. We've been tracking his investment announcements from his presidential trips. Over 30 of them, as at December 2024, was $50.8 billion. Our job is to make sure that those announcements translate into bankable investments that we see through.
Above all, Nigeria's fiscal deficit has steadily narrowed from 6.4% of GDP in early 2023 to 4.4% in early 2024. Foreign exchange reserves have also increased to $38.5 billion, with government revenue disbursement up by a significant 91.6%.
Those measures today have yielded 4 quarters of successive economic growth, stability in foreign exchange, and appreciation by Nigerians and international community. Rating agencies have consistently appreciated what we are doing.
Debt servicing as a percentage of revenue is down from well over 90% to just about 60%, according to the figures at the end of 2024. Likewise, the debt to GDP ratio is relatively moderate at just over 50%.
The fact of the matter now is that we have some stability in the foreign exchange rates. We have them too close to each other, the official rate and the black market rate. One moment one is higher than the other moment one is. So the pressure on central bank to provide forex has been attenuated. Many people don't go to central bank anymore because it's easier for them to just buy the thing from black market and carry on with their business. So that is one of the things. But also the removal of the subsidy moved us from negative balance of payment to positive balance of payment. We are now about $6.8 billion positive balance of payment. And then we even have more growth than we had before because we are over 4% growth. Even in the hardest of conditions, even as bad as it was, we still had growth in the economy more than it was before.
Through aggressive and faithful debt servicing, the debt profile of the country has come down from more than 90% to about 60%, giving the government some breathing space to embark on infrastructure projects. Revenue generation has now gone up by nearly 20% and counting, leading to increased federal allocation to the states.
We now receive more monies in terms of federal allocation. And what is important now, these monies, if properly deployed, to repair the broken down infrastructure, manage the social life of our people, do all those essential things that will make life meaningful in the country. The credit and legacy will go to the pioneer and the captain of the vessel, which is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
And you recall that before that, whenever there was federation account, distribution of the federation account, if the money did not reach a certain level of control, the federal government has to provide budget intervention. But budget intervention now is gone. Every government is able to pay salaries now to its workers. Every government is able to execute some meaningful infrastructural facilities and social services. So you can see how tough it was from the beginning. And you know that necessity is the mother of invention.
The kind of liquidity that the subnationals especially are enjoying now is coming from two places: the reformed Naira and the closure of that arbitrage. Mr. President said, look, subsidy is gone because as an accountant and auditor, he wanted to be sure of how much we had and how much we had to run with, how much resources he had to run the economy with. So again, this has released money to the states and to the local government. And of course, perhaps we could take it as a third reform that Mr. President has pushed for local government autonomy, in which case the whole idea is that more money should go down. Yeah, I mean, look, I think a lot of people, a lot of analysts will say, oh, we don't need that much money in the federal level. Mr. President also believes in that.
The ability of the Central Bank of Nigeria today to build reserves, forex reserves, you can't credit that to the fact that today we have a lot of capital inflows. We have, more foreign portfolio investors coming in, and we also have increase in diaspora remittances. So that has helped to, shore up our external reserves. At some points it touched $40 billion. Okay, so today as we speak, net external reserves is in excess of $23 billion.
Key private sector players and investors have expressed confidence in the reforms, saying the economy is on the right path.
But the reforms are fantastic. Mr. President has actually done very well, and the last time that I saw him, I really congratulated him, because it's like a footballer now. When he's doing well, if he doesn't have anybody cheering him, you know that he's doing well or not. But on this one, really, I think Mr. President has actually done extremely very, very, very well. Because these were things that I thought they won't happen in our lifetime, but here we are. He did very well.
People now have confidence in the fact that we know the rate of exchange is not determined by one individual. It's not one where the arbitrage is so large. So a lot of clarity has been put in that place. Transparency is there, confidence is there. And because of the population of Nigeria, everybody wants to come to Nigeria. The population is attractive. A lot of companies are coming in, and more will still come. We're going to do far more than we're doing currently. We believe we need to build this economy first so that truly Nigeria can be that gun that we've always referred to in the map of Africa. Let's fire and pull the trigger. And Mr. President is helping us do
Agenda. And we have decided that we are going to freeze the price of cement to anybody that is involved, or for any contractor that is involved with the Renewed Hope project or projects. So what it means is that any company or anybody that is involved or that is doing a project that is under the Renewed Hope, the price of cement will be frozen. There will be no increase for the foreseeable future. We are doing that to support Mr. President's Renewed Hope initiative. And that is something that Alhaji Aliko Dangote actually proposed. I must say, I must give him credit. And I concurred with him.
In the oil and gas sector, the crude for naira policy of the administration is making significant impact. The initiative has brought about increased market competition, leading to a reduction in the pump price of petrol from 1,200 to 875 naira per litre.
Really, I must give credit to Mr. President, most likely because he has, he had actually sort of worked before in that industry. He created this, this naira for crude. And at first, when I was contacted, really, I thought, well, wait a minute, because the refinery, all my loans, everything is in naira. In dollars. All my loans are actually in dollars. So how do I now come and end up with a naira profit? Because Nigeria consumes also a lot. But having looked at the he is not his only responsibility to make Nigeria great. We also have to do our own part. What do we do? And I thought, okay, fine, it is a good thing that we need to partner with the government to make sure that we put in a lot of sacrifice to accept this naira. But it was a very fantastic thing, because when you look at it, it actually stabilized the currency. You can see that the currency has actually stabilized.
With improved security in the Niger Delta region, oil production has increased from about 1 million barrels per day in 2023 to 1.6 million barrels per day in 2025. New investments are now coming into the oil and gas sector. In the past few months, some investors have committed $8 billion in the country's deep water oil and gas sector.
The next step really is to increase our capacity to produce hydrocarbons, which is oil and gas, and export it. The good news is that Nigeria is blessed with, I think, the 10th or the 8th largest gas reserves in the world. We have over 220 trillion cubic feet discovered in this country. And we're absolutely blessed by the fact that all the resources we require to industrialize over the next couple of centuries are present within our system.
And the recent overhaul of the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited is set to ensure a more sustainable oil production for the country.
NNPC's production contribution comes from, I would say, two main segments. The first segments are those assets that are operated by NNPC directly, and the second segments are those assets that are operated through joint venture partners. So our first focus is on those assets operated by NNPC. We are reviewing those assets, we are reviewing the organizational structures to ensure that those structures are optimum to be able to deliver the kind of ambition that we target.
When you look at what Mr. President did now in terms of trying to bring major revolution in the oil sector, where he removed, the old board and, management of NNPC, and he brought people who really are very credible. They are professionals. These are people who now have Nigeria at heart. I think you will see massive change. The only thing that I also want Mr. President to do is to go and look at the NUPRC and also NMDPRA, because these are the regulatory listen. So to attract more investment is not only the job of NNPC, it's the job of the regulators.
At the time when this government came in, even crude oil production was just about 1,050,000. Today we are back to 1,700,000, 1,800,000 barrels of crude oil a day. It is a testimony, it is a reflection of what is going on. It's a massive improvement. I don't think we have had this in the last 3 decades. We are just about to resume oil production in Ogoniland. It has been off for over 30 years. It was the work of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative is aimed at providing cheaper and cleaner alternative fuel, thereby relieving Nigerians of the hardship brought by the removal of fuel subsidy.
In the last 1 year, we've been able to achieve $500 million of investment into the sector. That's also led to creation of 10,000 jobs, directly, and indirectly 90,000 jobs. All of these as a result of all of the good things that have happened in the sector in 1 year.
I refuel 3,600 and take off from Abuja to Jos. It's more than 200 kilometers. But let me tell you that 3,600 took me to close to Jos. Let's say 40 kilometers to Jos from Abuja.
If you can see my vehicle, they have filled the amount the CNG and I'm enjoying it. 3.5 I feel. I use it to make 30,000.
The Tinubu administration's economic reforms have attracted global commendation, with many countries and global institutions applauding the government for staying the course to turn the economy around for good.
Between 2015 and 19, the growth rate in Nigeria was an average of 2%. It's now, in the last 12 months, at least about 3.5%. But most positively, in the last quarter for which we have data, it's up to 4.6%. So there's a real uptick in growth, and there are other indicators that suggest that businesses are planning to expand, that business optimism is shifting.
As a key component of the administration's vision for prosperity for the country, the health sector is also getting more attention. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, said investment in the sector has led to expansion of primary healthcare facilities nationwide.
We set out to expand the primary healthcare system, to make it functional at level 2, to improve the level of functionality. So we embarked on increasing the functionality of 8,800 primary healthcare centers, and over time expanding them to 17,000 that are functional, so that Nigerians will have the retail points working between federal government, states, local governments, private sector, development partners to roll that going forward, to revitalize the basic healthcare provision fund.
There is also the groundbreaking Health Fellows Program, with 774 youth selected out of 360,000 applicants, one from each local government area in Nigeria. In response to a request to assist the fellows with employment after the 1-year fellowship, President Tinubu obliged.
The coordinating minister and the champion of this program has requested for an approval.
And luckily, the Minister of Finance Coordinating Economy is here also. So for that, you are hired.
We did a few things under the leadership of the president. For instance, we increased the quotas for training of health workers. We doubled for medical schools, nursing, pharmacy schools. We increased them significantly so that we can produce more. That has been very successful because now many states, private actors have come in to get accredited so that they can be able to train more Nigerians because we have the youthful population. And to be able to train them at the quality that is needed and to work as a team in the healthcare space, whether it's doctors, nurses, pharmacists, lab scientists, all of us to put the Nigerian person at the center. Thankfully, in the last 2 years, you've had very, very little disharmony in the sector. We decided to retrain 120,000 frontline health workers. So far, over 3 years. In just a year, we've retrained more than 60,000 frontline health workers all across Nigeria. These are frontline health workers, nurses, midwives, in the front lines.
The administration is also broadening infrastructure development nationwide. As part of plans to deliver world-class infrastructure, President Tinubu is ensuring an even spread of his legacy projects across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Among the major legacy road projects of the Tinubu administration are the 750-kilometer Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway and the over 1,000-kilometer Sokoto-Badagry Highway.
We have 4 legacy projects of Mr. President, and the entire projects are all, connected together. We have the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, that's 750 kilometers. You have it was Badagry Sokoto, but Mr. President changed it Sokoto Badagry so that the project could start at Sokoto and Kebbi, and that's what has happened. And then you have the Trans-Sahara Trade Route, which is starting from Calabar to Ebonyi, to part of Benue, to Kogi first, Nasarawa, and then you get to Abuja. And then when you get to Abuja, we connect Akwanga, Jos, Bauchi, Gombe. So they're all together. What have we done? The Lagos-Calabar, we have, we've done over 80% of Section 1, which is 47.47 kilometers. And that's from Ahmad Bello Way, down to Lake Deep Seaport. It terminates at Eleko Junction. And then the second one starts from Eleko Junction, 55 kilometers, and it gets to the border between Lagos and Ogun. And that project is ongoing. So we've completed about 30 kilometers on the Section 1. We are set to complete about 10 kilometers in Section 2. And when I mean completing, meaning that the entire 6 lanes are completed with the first concrete pavement.
For Sokoto Badagry, 72 dams are going to be created. And in the final analysis, we're going to have about 3 million hectares of land under cultivation. And this has strong implications for food security. We need that. We need sufficient food for people, and that's what the Bola Tinubu is very much aware of this.
And also you see the issue of transportation, especially with the removal of subsidy. We must look at a cheaper way of transportation, and the railway system is the very cheap system of transportation. And he continued with what the previous government started, the railway system from Lagos to Ibadan, from Ibadan to Kaduna, from Kaduna to Kano, Kano to Daura, Daura to Katsina, Katsina to Maradi, Maradi to Jibia in Niger Republic. That project has continued. Work is going on now, and the AKK, Ajakuta, Kaduna, Kano gas pipeline, which is absolutely necessary for the industrial development, especially in those industrial cities like Kaduna, Kano. You see, that work is going on.
As Nigeria's capital, Abuja is also recording massive facility upgrades through the untiring efforts of the Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike.
We're determined to go when you have a leadership, somebody who has shown leadership, you have no fear. You have no fear. So the leadership Mr. President has shown is what has encouraged us to take bold decisions to say, look, we can't continue to be business as usual. We must do things in different way. But before that, it was difficult because that leadership was not provided. And you don't want to go and take a decision where you're embarrassed by appointment. Nobody does that. So now we have seen that we have a leadership that's focused and said, it wants result. It does not want excuses. It does not want, oh, you see, people did it. No. He has confidence in you. He believes you have what it takes to support him, to achieve what he has promised Nigerians. So all we are doing is to continue for what we stopped last year. Last year, it took us about 12 days, 13 days of commission of projects. This year alone, it's taking us 19 good days of projects that will touch on the life of the people, those who reside in the city and those who reside in the satellite center. It has never happened.
In February 2024, President Tinubu launched the pilot phase of his ambitious housing project. The Renewed Hope Cities and Estates Development Program is aimed at delivering houses to Nigerians across the 36 states and the FCT. Over 3,000 housing units are being constructed at Karasana, Abuja as part of 20,000 units to be delivered for the FCT.
For each housing unit, we are impacting over 25 jobs, skilled and unskilled jobs. So we have created over 250,000 jobs across the country. And they earn nothing less than 90,000 to 150,000 monthly, because at the rate of 3,000 to 5,000 daily, this skilled and unskilled laborers are earning more than even the minimum wage.
You are the hope of this country. Everything hangs in your future. Every decision that I've taken is about you. It's about tomorrow. When you remove all subsidy, you are protecting the future of generations yet unborn, the youths. Government of today is all about you. Take it very seriously.
To broaden access to tertiary education, President Tinubu launched the Nigerian Education Loan Fund in May 2024. Since its launch, NELFund has disbursed over 50 billion naira to almost 300,000 beneficiaries in the last 1 year.
Talking more about the impact, we've seen at the highest levels about 9,000 applications in one day. The run rate is more like 1,500 to 1,800 applications per day, which speaks to the pent-up demand that is out there. This is, to date, the number that we have is over 290,000 students are beneficiaries of this loan fund.
President Tinubu had done tremendously well, had done his best in terms of giving opportunity to youths, and also the like NELFund had not been done before in the history of Nigeria, and NELFund has created tremendous opportunity for many university students who could not afford to go to school. I've always tried to compare this program with the days of Awolowo, even if it was not NELFund at that time, but it was free education.
Before now, it is almost difficult for some families to sponsor their children, to pay fees and pay for their upkeep. So the president said, on no account should any student be left out of school simply because his parents or guardians are unable to pay for his school fees. So he came up with this very robust plan of student loan, unprecedented, clearly significantly appreciated by Nigerians.
Another sector where progress has been recorded is agriculture. To ensure food security, the administration set up the Special Agro-Industrial Production Zones, provided 100 billion naira fertilizer support for local farmers with thousands of tractors and more.
3 other programs that we have seen that has made an impact is the mechanization program of Mr. President. That is a wonderful legacy. We have, like I said, the GIP is also mechanization partly. And then the Greener Hope, which seeks to provide almost about 10,000 different implements from tractors to harrows and other agricultural equipment over a period of 10 years. And that will also seek to set up about 1,000 service centers across the nation, and also to develop 150,000 hectares of land across the Federation, with 25,000 from each geopolitical zone.
We've been supporting sort of in our agriculture sector, because I have a very high focus on exports. Where we've seen that some of our goods are getting rejected, some of our agricultural produce, we've engaged with those countries. For instance, we had a challenge with our sesame exports to Japan. We've engaged government of Japan. We've got support from the WTO and other development partners to have targeted interventions to fix that.
Food prices are coming down in Nigeria, and we're doing quite a lot, to support that effort. And you will recall that His Excellency granted duty or tariff, waivers last year for certain food items, to be imported into the country. And like rice, for example, brown rice, maize, wheat, sorghum. And at the time, food prices were really very high, as you mentioned, last year. For example, the price of rice was about 100,000 naira or thereabout, per 50 kilo bag. The wheat price was, or rather flour was about 80,000 naira per bag. And maize was about 60,000 naira per 50 kilo bag. And pasta, about 20,000 naira per carton. So what we did was we keyed into that policy. And Abuja was able to import, quite a lot of wheat, maize, and rice. And the moment, the shipment started coming, we started processing, we crushed, the prices of some of these commodities. And today, I'm happy, to inform that the price of rice is about 60,000 naira from what it was last year of 110,000 naira. Flour is today 55,000 naira per 50 kilo bag. Maize about 30,000 naira. And this happened because of Mr. President's, foresight and vision, by introducing that one-off, duty waiver for a period of 6 months. And with that, we've been able to bring down the prices of these commodities.
The establishment of the Ministry of Livestock Development has been described as a masterstroke, which is capable of boosting the sector's contribution to the GDP from $32 billion to $74 billion by 2035 and generate over 33 trillion naira in revenue.
This sector will boost agricultural productivity, enhance export opportunities, and stimulate economic growth by fostering a robust value chain that benefits farmers, processors, herders, distributors, and consumers alike.
This is massive. Already, so many countries around the world are already looking at partnering with our country to see that this sector is fully revamped so that they can take advantage of it. It's a potentially big revenue earner for this country. And all the farmers that are involved, all the herders that are involved, are now having the opportunity to really get the best out of the sector so that they can also contribute meaningfully to the society and in the process also make carve out a living for themselves.
The administration's policy of local value addition and a tightened licensing is changing the fortune of the solid mineral sector. The sector so far attracted over $800 million in investments and generated over 38 billion naira in revenue in 2024, up from 6 billion naira in 2023.
For so long as we could remember, even before we were born, our minerals have been adjudged raw materials and they've been extracted and exported to service the industries of developed societies. And so under the President Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda, we say no more. Now, we do not approve licenses from applicants who do not show us concrete plans of local value addition, which means you must process locally.
The minister has aggressively curbed illegal mining through the establishment of mining marshals.
They've arrested over 300 illegal miners in 1 year of its operation. Over almost 150 are undergoing prosecution across the states in the country. And we've secured over 9 convictions, including foreigners involved in this nefarious activity. And this has really helped us to send a strong message and signal to the operators in this sector.
Midway into the first term of President Tinubu, citizens can look forward to a better standard of living in the next 2 years.
It's about time that we do it right. A country of over 200 million people, we must work together to realize the dream.
In his very creative way, the presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu has come up with this robust plan by putting in place, again for the first time, the Ministry of Regional Development that will take care of all the agitations, all the concerns of the various regions in this country.
Don't forget that every government policy has a gestation period, minimum of 2 years. He's done it before, and I tell people that that's what he's doing now. In another couple of months, and before the end of this term, the results of all these economic policies would have manifested.
I promised reforms. Nigeria is growing from a rental economy to an industrial economy, which is not easy to get within 2 years. But by the time he finishes the first term, and if he's lucky to come the second term, Nigeria will become a fully industrial country.
As the president marches on in his desire to deliver prosperity to Nigerians, he needs more support from all citizens, as the task is a collective one.
So Nigerians should continue to have hope. They have started feeling it. They have hope that tomorrow is going to be better than today under the present administration.
And I don't want you to think I will take you for granted at any given time. I'm here to serve. It's all about service. And I'll do it with all my heart. I seek your cooperation at all the time. I seek your understanding. I understand the trouble you've been through. The promise is there. We are on the right path. We stay the course. We maintain focus. We share love with each other. Let us believe in ourselves and in our country. Tomorrow will bring a glorious dawn.
It has been a journey of reform to recovery for Nigeria. The road has been rough and tough, but light is finally appearing at the end of the tunnel.
You know, when I took over, it was and make changes. It was a big cane, I stopped reading papers and find it very, very difficult to even listen to news sometimes with level of criticism and pressure on me on the reform. Today, I believe Nigeria has come of age. Nigeria is becoming more competitive. Nigeria has turned the corner.
Nigeria is rising.
Thank you.